Hello and welcome. My name is Bill Murphy. The League of Women Voters of Fresno would like you to know what's at stake when you go to the polls on Tuesday, June 3rd for the primary election. So they've asked me to moderate a forum today in which we hope to learn from the candidates, their views and positions on important issues connected with the office. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. It does not endorse candidates or political parties. We're thankful to the Community Media Access Collaborative for their help in producing this forum. Our slate of candidates includes 3 people running for the 16th District Representative in the U.S. Congress. They are Steve Crass, Mel Levey, and Joanna Garcia-Botelho. Each candidate will make a 1-minute opening statement, followed by questions from me. And then each candidate will have a 1 minute to answer, and a 30-second rebuttal will be allowed after that if desired. And finally, each candidate will make a 1-minute closing statement. Steve Crass will be the first to offer his opening statement for 1 minute.
Well, first, thank you, Bill, and thank you for the League of Women Voters of Fresno. To be a good representative, it takes leadership. And leadership takes passion, and it takes a breadth and depth of experience. I have both. My passion for the Valley starts because I was born and raised here. I was born in Merced, California. I graduated from Merced High School and Merced College before going on to the UC system. My passion is reinforced by the fact that I'm raising my 3 kids in Fresno, California. I want them to have the same opportunities that I had growing up in the Valley, which means a good opportunity for career and to feel safe in their homes. Currently, we have skyrocketing unemployment and crime, and I want to fix those problems. I also have the experience. This is not my first job. Before running for office, I was a state and local prosecutor, and now I'm currently a partner in a law firm where I'm not only part of a business, but I'm also advise businesses. I like to bring those experiences and that passion to the 16th Congressional District. I'm ready to go.
Thank you. Mel Levey will now give his opening statement.
Thank you. My name is Mel Levey, and I'm running for Congress for the 16th Congressional District. I was born and raised in Merced, California. During high school, the September 11th terror attacks inspired me to want to serve my country. So I applied for and was accepted into the United States Military Academy at West Point. Following graduation from West Point, I served in the Army for the last 7 years. That included 2 deployments to Iraq and 1 to Afghanistan. Now, during that time in the military, I served as an armor officer, so I was leading soldiers in combat. I learned a lot about how to make decisions and how to take responsibility for one's actions. And that's what our leaders in Congress should be doing. Right now, Jim Costa and many other congressmen are not doing that, and this valley needs some good leadership. We need leadership to solve the hard problems like the water issue, and poverty, and unemployment. That's what I'll do if I'm elected to Congress. Thank you.
Thank you. And now for her opening statement, Joanna Garcia-Botelho.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for putting this on for us. My name's Joanna Garcia-Botelho, and I live right in the middle of the 16th Congressional District in Chowchilla. I am an almond farmer there with my husband, and we also got into the water well drilling business when we discovered that we needed more water. I'm sure many people in the Valley are going through those same troubling times right now, and I decided that given my background and experience, it's time for someone to stand up and represent us in Washington who understands the hard problems that business owners and residents of the Valley face every day. I went to Fresno State and got my ag business degree. I went on to San Joaquin College of Law to get my Juris Doctorate, and I'm prepared now to go to Washington and try to represent the Valley and solve our tough problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go to the questions. And the first to answer a question is Mel Levey. Mr. Levey, why do you believe that you are the best candidate to represent the 16th Congressional District?
Thank you, Bill. It's a great question. Right now in the 16th Congressional District, we have a lack of leadership. And it's been manifest for the last several years, and really we're seeing the fruits of that lack of leadership in the water crisis and poverty and some other issues. If we need a leader, we need someone who's been trained to be a leader. And that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. West Point is a leadership school. They taught us how to lead, how to make decisions, how to inspire others to also make decisions and execute a plan. During my time in the Army, that's what we did. We solved hard problems. Whether it was Baghdad or Kirkuk or Kandahar, we looked at hard issues and solved them through a wide range of opportunities. I believe that leadership experience makes me the best qualified to represent you for the Valley, and also to take on a career politician like Jim Costa.
Ms. Garcia-Botelho, why do you believe that you're the best candidate to represent the 16th District?
Thank you, Bill. Well, I believe that I am the best candidate to represent the 16th District because the 16th District is comprised of workers, farmers, and small businesses and large businesses. And myself being a farmer and a small business owner who has worked my way up while continuing my education, I'm prepared to represent us in Congress. We have had politicians in the past who have not looked forward to the future, and I think it's urgent someone who knows how to balance the books and their budget and run a successful operation be the representative that moves forward to help run the federal government and solve the tough problems that business owners face today. I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to solve the problems that are not only facing me but my friends and my neighbors, and I hope to represent you in the 16th District. Thank you.
Mr. Crass, why do you believe that you're the best qualified to represent the 16th District?
Well, thank you, Bill. I'm the best alternative to Jim Costa. Jim Costa was first elected in 1978. He has 35 years to solve the problems that we're faced with. I heard some of the other candidates mention water. There's also a crime problem. We also have high unemployment. Unlike Jim Costa, who was first elected when he was in his 20s, that's not me. I've had a past and a career, and each step along the way has been an important building block to lead me to this place where now I can represent the 16th Congressional District effectively. Not only was I went to law school and learned about laws. I think that's important if you're going to be a legislator. After that, I went to serve 6 years in the JAG Corps, which also was a deployment overseas, and learned some of the same things that Mel Lee learned about leadership in the military. After that, I was a federal prosecutor, which gave me a unique perspective into crime that we're faced in the Valley, as well as immigration problems. I truly provide a much different, and now, maybe most importantly, I'm in the private sector and deal with businesses and advise businesses. Those are key components, and because of that, I provide a clear alternative to the incumbent.
All right, thank you. Next question, Ms. Garcia-Botelho. The failure of some congressional representatives to work with their own colleagues, let alone work across party lines, has led to legislative gridlock, including a government shutdown last year. What measures should the congressional leadership take to stop this gridlock that has resulted in little meaningful legislation this session?
Well, thank you, Bill. I believe that the congressional leaders need to put their own interests aside and they need to represent the people. You are elected to be basically a fiduciary for the 16th District and act in their best interests. A government shutdown, not being willing to cooperate with other representation of the different districts and come to reasonable solutions to solve our problems is a real issue, and whoever's representing us needs to be willing to do that. They need to lay down their personal opinion and they need to act in the best interest of our district. I'm prepared to do whatever's necessary to solve our problems. That's going to require a little give and a take, but we need to make sure that we're doing that. We're giving and also taking. A lot of times you get one-sided representation, so I'm prepared to represent us and do what's best to solve our problems.
Thank you. Mr. Crass, do you need the question repeated, or?
I think I got it.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill. The way that you beat gridlock is there's a couple of different things that you can do. Number one, the first thing is good ideas. If you have a good ideas go across party lines, and you can easily sell them. You can sell them to the constituency, and you can sell them to the other side of the aisle, and you can sell them to your own side of the aisle. We need to have leaders that have good ideas. That's first and foremost. The second thing is you really have to keep what you're trying to accomplish in mind, and that is the Valley. We have to identify what problems are facing the Valley, and then we need to be laser focused so that we address those. Obviously, we've already touched on it. It's only been a couple of minutes into this program, but the water issue and the water crisis is one of those issues that we need to remain focused on. Same with immigration and crime. and unemployment. So we need to be focused on that. And then the last thing is, you just need to be a good person. I tell my kids when they go to school every day that they need to be a leader. And part about being a leader is just being nice and being good to other people. And if I can't go to Washington, D.C. and come home and look my kids in the eye, then it's not worth going in the first place.
Thank you. Mr. Levey, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thanks, Bill. I
Okay.
think I've got it here. Being a good leader requires building consensus. And in order to build a consensus and reach an agreement on an issue, you have to understand where the other person is coming from. And I think there's a lot of misunderstanding amongst representatives in Washington. I don't think they know each other all that well. In order to build that consensus, not only do you have to know the other person, know what their interests are, but you have to have a realistic set of goals for yourself. And I think a lot of representatives in Congress don't have realistic goals about what they want to accomplish. It's possible to compromise without giving away your core values. Right? And that's the kind of leadership that we need in Washington. Someone who's willing to compromise, willing to work with the other side, and understanding that there are core values that you don't compromise along the way. That's how we can reach consensus on issues like water and jobs and healthcare. Working with the other side, understanding what their interests are and where your interests align with that, without giving away those core values.
Thanks very much. Steve Crass, you're first on this next question. Many of the farmers on the west side of the valley are concerned about their inability to hire enough farm workers to help with the field work. What specific changes to the current immigration policy would you propose to alleviate the expected shortages?
Yeah, I think that there's two issues there. Number one, we need to expand the visa program so that we allow people that would like to come and work on the farm and work towards harvest can do so they can come back without fear of being caught on the way back across the border. That's one, certainly an expanded visa program. Two, we just need to make sure that we expand our other immigration issues, and part of that is just making sure that the bureaucracy is streamlined. If elected, I like to incorporate and work with folks from Silicon Valley that deal with solving problems, where they can put together computer programs and different modules in order to assist with the bureaucracy. Certainly we don't want to create more bureaucracy with an immigration reform bill, but we need to be able to work towards streamlining as well as streamlining our existing immigration policy. We need to expand the visa program. And the other thing, Bill, really what we need to do is pull the 12 million undocumented people out of the shadows.
Thank you. Bill Levey, what changes would you make to immigration policy?
All right, thanks, Bill. Well, you talked about the farmers on the west side, and so the first issue I think that needs to be addressed is the water issue. And farmers will hire more folks when they're able to plant more acres. And so when you talk about water, there is water available in the state right now that we don't have access to because of outdated environmental regulations. And so, but prior to hiring folks, we need to clear up some of those regulations and allow the water to get to farms that need it. And in terms of the actual labor market, allowing folks to be hired and move to this country to be hired, cleaning up the immigration system is key. It should not take years for the United States of America to evaluate whether or not someone has value in the job market in this country. Folks should be able to have a pretty clear path when they want to become a citizen to this country, and in a timely manner receive that citizenship, receive those papers, and legally immigrate to this country.
Thank you. Joanna Garcia-Botelho, what changes would you make to the current immigration policy?
Well, thank you, Bill. I believe there are probably many changes that need to occur, but as someone who had the opportunity to work for the state of California the past 3 years, I have seen that a lot of stuff administratively can cause backlog, and I really feel that we need to focus on helping people be legal immigrants as opposed to illegal immigrants, and do whatever reforms are necessary with the immigration policy to streamline the process for permanent citizenship and also for a visa program. Sometimes you can realize that things take too long, and so if you need employees to come over, if it takes 13 years to get something processed, then obviously there's going to be incentives for people to not follow the law and illegally immigrate here to get that work. So we need to focus on streamlining the process and making administrative backlog get taken care of. I think that can alleviate a lot of the problems.
Thank you. Any rebuttal from anybody?
Yeah, Bill, the only thing that I would note is that You know, as a former assistant U.S. attorney, my job was to prosecute criminal immigration crimes. And I can tell you, just to follow up on a little bit of what Ms. Botelho Garcia had mentioned, is that those regulations are extremely confusing. And just like everything else, we need to be able to streamline those regulations to make sure that people can understand them. It's not, you know, all that different from our tax code. When you just look at it and you can't understand it, then it's going to be difficult to follow. It's going to be difficult for the people trying to come across to follow. It's also going to be difficult for the employers to follow the rules and making sure they get legal people here.
Thank you. Any other rebuttal?
Well, I would just mention that as a farmer and someone who uses a labor contractor to help me solve my issues when I need workers to help out in my almond orchard, that I would agree that it is very complex, and anything that we can do as federal legislators to help simplify that will be extremely helpful to farmers on the west side and throughout the valley.
All right, thank you. Mel Levey, your turn to be first. Okay. Given the Supreme Court's decision to uphold the constitutionality of the Affordable Care Act, what should Congress do next to assure quality health care for the American population?
Okay. Well, you know, the Affordable Care Act promised a lot of things, and it was kind of passed with the intent from the administration that it was going to provide insurance for folks who didn't have insurance prior. And we've seen now that that's not working, and the system itself is not working, and what we've really done is just layered on some more bureaucracy onto an already existing problem. And that's not a way to solve problems in government. You know, I think that the fix is going to be to scale back the bureaucracy of the system. And really that's going to take some repeal of different measures of Obamacare and replacing them with kind of some common sense tools. You know, certain aspects of Obamacare should not be repealed. You know, pre-existing conditions, allowing folks to have access to health care with pre-existing conditions is a good thing. But there's no reason why we need to be forcing everyone to purchase health care and driving up these costs. The private market can solve this, and so we need to scale back the bureaucracy and allow that to happen.
Thank you. Joanna Garcia-Botelho.
Well, the Affordable Care Act definitely needs some repealing and some modifications. I would concur as someone who could not get insurance due to pre-existing conditions from when I was a child. It's important to allow anyone who wants to have medical have that as an option, but I have many friends within the state who don't necessarily want to exercise their right to have medical. They want to take that burden on themselves, and they don't feel very happy with the fact that they're forced to. You've seen medical begin to expand in expense, and you've seen people start to lose coverage or get shifts in coverage. I really feel that if we get the government out of something that could be private industry, modified and let capital markets cross state borders, let insurance companies kind of compete with each other, that we can really fix the healthcare problem instead of making it more confusing to the American citizen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Steve
Crass.
Thanks, Bill. You don't solve our healthcare issue with more bureaucracy. You don't want to go to the doctor at the DMV. The problem with the Affordable Care Act is, well, among a lot of things, is that nobody read the bill. And we can see that it's been delayed in many aspects until after the midterm elections. There's a reason for that, and the reason for that is because there's a negative effect. The Valley needs no additional help to the extent that it's going to have a bad effect or an ill effect on our economy. We have some of the highest unemployment rates in the country right here in the Valley, and the highest in the Valley in Merced. We need to make sure that we streamline, not unlike the immigration policy where we get rid of bureaucracy. We need to do that through the free market system. There are some things that we can do to control pricing, which the Affordable Care Act does not do. We can ensure that individuals are able to join other individuals, that individuals are able to join insurance plans with small businesses, and that insurance companies can insure people across state lines. Those will reduce the prices, and those will be the good things that can occur so that we make sure that the free market system makes our healthcare system better.
Thank you. Is there any rebuttal on any?
Bill, I'd like to talk real quick. You know, we talk a lot about bureaucracy and not being the way to solve real problems. And we have a great example in the VA system of this over the last 10 years or so. The Department of Veteran Affairs is now the second largest federal department after the Department of Defense, the second largest. And I don't think by anyone's measures of success, the Department of Veterans Affairs is doing a great job. So we have a real-world example in the federal government right now of what happens when you just layer bureaucracy on top of a problem. It doesn't really address the problem.
Any other?
Yeah, sure. And I would say, not only the VA system, but right here in Fresno, we have doctor groups, 150 doctor group, Blue Cross Blue Shield, that's no longer taking people that signed up through the exchange. Those are kind of the real life examples of what happens when people in Congress don't read the bill and they pass things without thinking and being thoughtful. Not only has doctors not taking patients, but prices have gone up. And the biggest lie of the year was that you were going to be able to keep your doctor.
Thank you. We're not through with the subject yet. Joanna Garcia-Botelho. Under the Affordable Care Act, undocumented immigrants are prohibited from purchasing health insurance through the federal health exchanges, which means that many cannot afford health insurance. Since Fresno County agriculture depends heavily on documented workers, how do you propose to adequately address the health needs of these individuals without impacting hospital emergency rooms throughout the area?
Well, either way, hospital emergency rooms are going to be impacted. If you have a worker, whether legal or illegal, who cuts off their arm or does something horrific where they need emergency care, they're going to go to that ER and they're going to get treated rather than die in a field. At least I would hope. That's what I would do if I saw anyone in desperate need. And so we really need to let the free markets be able to build themselves up. The government getting involved has never solved problems. And the Medi-Cal, Medicaid, all of these other things were already not working to the best of their ability. And we took the Affordable Health Care Act and added that to it to make it even more complex and convoluted, to confuse all of the medical system, not just the part that was state applied. And so to solve that, we need to work to solve immigration and get people here legally so that then they can be enrolled in programs that the federal government has allowed for people to get.
Okay, thank you. Steve Crass, would you like the question repeated? Or?
No, I think I'm okay, Bill. I think this is really not a problem with the Affordable Care Act, although there's a host of problems with the Affordable Care Act, which you've already addressed. But this is really a problem with our immigration system. Certainly, we need to deal with the 12 million undocumented people that are here. And we need to do that by being able to pull them out of the shadows. There's some local congressmen, Congressman Valadeo and Congressman Denham, who are pushing legislation to address some of these issues. Like I'd mentioned already, we need to make sure that people that come to this country have a legal status and that are not illegal. We need to streamline that process so then they are vested in our society, they become taxpayers, and then to the extent that there are programs that are available for citizens, they can be a part of it. But certainly we don't want people just to come into the United States and go immediately and take through entitlement programs, including any health care program.
Thank you. Mel Levey?
All right, thank you, Bill. This issue really does get to the heart of two complex issues, right? And two issues that I don't think we as a nation have dealt with all that well over the last several decades, and that is healthcare as well as immigration reform. And the real issue here with providing healthcare for undocumented workers is to ensure that they're not undocumented, right? So it doesn't really get back to the healthcare issue. It does get back to their illegal status or their undocumented status. And I go back to the idea that we must be able to evaluate if someone is going to provide value to this country, whether culturally or politically or through the job force, in a manner quicker than it currently takes. It's simply too long for someone to become a citizen in this country. And there's a way to evaluate if someone is going to be a security risk to this nation or a value to this nation in a manner that's quicker. And if we can do that, we can reduce the number of undocumented workers in this country. And we can do that while still securing the border and while still providing affordable health care to people through a market-based system.
Thank you. Well, we've come to that point where each candidate will have the opportunity for a 1-minute closing statement. The first is going to be from Steve Crass.
Thank you, Bill. And again, thank you to the League of Women Voters. The issues we face today are important. We have a water crisis, which we didn't get a chance to talk too much about today. We have high unemployment and we have crime. It takes a good leader, and it takes somebody that has passion and experience. I'm the only candidate that has both the passion and the experience to do the job, and I'm ready to go. I provide a clear alternative to a career politician that's been in office for 35 years, that's had no job other than political office. I've been as I mentioned before, I've been in the military, which included a deployment to Afghanistan and the Middle East. I've been a federal and state prosecutor. I'm now in private practice, both as a business partner at a law firm as well as advising businesses. This is the kind of leader that you need, that you want. I tell my kids every day to get some knowledge and be a leader, and I need to follow my own example. There is certainly a gap of leadership in the 16th Congressional District, and I'm ready to fill it. I'm ready to be your congressman. Thank you.
Thank you. Joanna Garcia-Botelho.
Thank you, Bill. I do appreciate this opportunity. I am ready to be the next congressman of this 16th district. The incumbent is a lifelong politician who has been in office actually longer than I've been alive, and it's time for him to step down and let the next generation, the generation that's going to have to deal with these problems that are being created today, step up and try to resolve them before they get worse. I am in the midst of it between farming and being a small business owner. I'm also a real estate broker, and I saw the housing crash from within. I've seen the flaws that have continued to plague the nation based on our bad leadership and their inability to actually resolve problems and get things done. It needs to happen that someone who is experienced and knows what happens firsthand in the valley to stand up and fight for what we need. We need jobs, we need water, we need immigration reform. Thank you, and I hope for you to turn out and vote on June 3rd and vote for Joanna Garcia-Botelho.
Thank you. Mel Levey, you get the last word.
All right, thank you, Bill, and I do want to thank the League of Women Voters for putting this event on today. Good leaders solve hard problems, and I've seen hard problems solved before, whether it was in Baghdad or Kandahar or elsewhere. I've seen issues and areas of the world that folks thought could never get any better, get better. Now, we currently have a lot of problems here in the Central Valley, and we have a lot of problems as a country as well. I think the country is on the wrong track. I think there are a lot of issues that good leaders could fix. I have that leadership experience. I will work hard to solve these problems, whether it's water or unemployment. You know, we didn't talk about foreign policy and some of the other issues that are affecting the country as a whole. We need good leaders with experience who have made hard decisions, who have been held accountable for those decisions. I've done that. I've done that for the last 10 years of my life in places that are oftentimes much more dangerous than places in America. We need good leaders to solve hard problems, and I can do that for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Levey. You've been watching a forum organized by the League of Women Voters of Fresno with the production assistance by the Community Media Access Collaborative of Fresno. I'm Bill Murphy. Thanks for watching. Minute and a half